It is 11 a.m. here in London. It's 3:30 p.m. in New Delhi. I'm Monita Rajpal.
And I'm Zain, Verjee. This is World One.
U.S. officials say they discovered evidence of al-Qaeda's continuing efforts to attack the United States. More information is emerging about a plot to bomb a U.S. airliner. Officials say counterterrorism agents seized an explosive device similar to one used in a failed attempt to blow up an airliner heading for Detroit in 2009. They say the latest plot was foiled around the anniversary of the death of Osama bin Laden, but it is unclear if an attack was planned for that date. Nick Robertson has been following the story. He joins us now here in the studio. Nick, the late-breaking development now is that we understand the U.S. had some help in trying to get this plot uncovered, or tips at least.
They did. We're learning from a regional source who's familiar with this operation that it came from a Saudi intelligence tip-off. Now, that's sort of not...
All right, Nick, thank you very much.
In just a few hours from now, we should learn whether the warring parties in Syria
A political deal has been reached in Israel that puts off elections until late next year. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his right-wing Likud party have joined forces with Kadima, a centrist party, to form a coalition government. In Greece, they've had the elections but haven't got a government. In Romania, a new government has taken power without a ballot box in sight. The new cabinet was sworn in late Monday. The old government fell after it was defeated last week in a no-confidence vote in Parliament led by the left-wing opposition. New Prime Minister Victor Ponta says he'll put wages in the public sector back up to pre-austerity levels. The outgoing government had cut pay as a cost-saving measure. Romania is the latest country in the EU to unseat its government in a backlash against budget cuts. Cosmin Stan is following the story in Bucharest. Romania joins us now. Cosmin, thank you very much for being with us. So this was not exactly an election, it was more of a referendum. So when exactly will Romanians have their say as to who they want in government?
Hi there, Monita. So, as you are saying, Mihai Răzvan Ungureanu replaced Emil Boc and formed a new government who only survived for 2 months.
This week, we are looking at South Africa and asking whether the African National Congress is threatening the democracy Nelson Mandela fought so hard to establish. Political opponents are accusing the ANC of using violence to try to drive them from power. Robin Curnow reports.
In the shadow of an armoured police vehicle assigned to protect him, small-town mayor Memory Boyson puts on a bulletproof vest.
Leaders have heard from the U.S. Secretary of State. Now it's time for America to hear from the Indian people. We asked citizens in New Delhi to step up to CNN's open mic and relay their messages to the United States. Well, China is warning the U.S. to take necessary measures to keep the controversy surrounding dissident Chen Guangcheng from happening again. The blind activist sought refuge in the U.S. Embassy in Beijing last week after escaping from house arrest. He's now a virtual prisoner in a tightly guarded hospital room. And as Stan Grant reports, Chen's situation is part of a nationwide crackdown on protest.
I cannot go any further?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
of course, you should show me your ID card.
Okay.
Welcome back. So as the football season here in England winds down, it's not long before we'll know who's heading into the Champions League and who's dropping out of the Premier League. For more on that, here's Amanda Davis. Hello.
Hi, yeah, we're going to be talking leagues in just a moment. We've got to start with some news that's coming out of Spain this morning.
And forward to that, but there are two very important stories that you touched on in your report today, and I think it's important that we, expand on that a little bit more. Chickens?
Chickens. It's one I've not seen before. We've had the Anfield cat spotted out of the stadium.
A goal, but maybe not necessarily a football in the goal.
No, there was certainly not one of those. But it was the only action in the Wigan goal all night, as a lot of people were saying. But yeah, it was sad to see, and I mean the puns are flying literally. So,
yeah, right.
Really fun.
It did ruffle some feathers.
It did.
Oh,
bum
no.
bum. Yeah, there we are.
Also, what do you actually think about this blue clay?
It's a difficult one because I mean this clay court season is essentially got everybody talking about it.
I mean, if it's change for change's sake, I think I prefer red. I mean, obviously, it's tradition. I'm not someone that's comfortable with change, obviously, but I don't know. The red clay, that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, and people saying, it's easier to see the ball, and they do play on the US Open is a blue hard court surface to see the yellow ball, but I don't know.
Right. Lots of important stories there. Yeah. Thanks a lot for that, Amanda.
See you later.
You're watching World One live from London.
Watching World One. Let's bring you up to date on some of the other stories that we're talking about this Tuesday. Britain's Prince Harry made quite the impression in Washington last night. Queen Elizabeth's grandson was in town to collect an honor for humanitarian work from Colin Powell, the former U.S. Secretary of State. Powell said the annual event was had attracted a record number of young single women this year, possibly thanks to the unmarried prince. Now, if you are ever in London or in distress while jogging in London, Hollywood's very own marathon man could prove to be your guardian angel. According to the Sun newspaper in the UK, Dustin Hoffman called for emergency paramedics when a runner collapsed near his London home. The patient has fully recovered now and had no idea that an Oscar winner had come to his aid until he woke up in hospital. And here's a question for you. How do you put a skyscraper on a diet? New York's Empire State Building has been told to consume less energy, and the owners think they can trim the power drain by up to 40% with simple measures as automatically shutting down the power in unused parts of the building.
Later this hour. I should say next hour. Back to you.
Thanks, Marty. You're watching World One Live from London. I'm Zain Verjee.
I'm Monita Rajpal. Thank you for joining us. Piers Morgan Tonight is next right here on CNN.